So, you know what fucking sucks
What
about
fucking
you?
sucks? About me?
Yeah,
Personally?
personally,
What's up?
is that
Yeah.
you host this movie podcast with me, and yet you don't know
Uh-huh.
shit ass about movies, and so I can't bitch to you about the Oscars. Like I came in here and I was like, I have all these
Yeah.
hot takes because the Doms just came out last week, and like
Mm-hmm.
I've none of my like in real life friends really, except for one. Shout out Asher, but I don't think Asher is not like a award person the way I am, so I have no one to
Uh-huh.
fucking talk about for all these things. But you're on Twitter still, or did you
Yeah.
get locked out? You
I am.
didn't get banned.
No, I'm on the tweets. I'm doing the tweeters.
Has there been discourse? I imagine there has to be discourse online about this. Maybe you
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
So I haven't really seen a ton of it. I have seen some, but it's always sort of echoed what you've said in the Discord. So I'm like, my eyes sort of like glaze over on the Twitter discourse, and I just scroll past it. I've been entrenched in Pal World discourse. So
Oh my god.
yeah. We don't have to get into that, but
It's funny because we talked about that briefly last week, and then because I only like I'll scroll through the news. That's like as tuned in as I'll get really to this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and like
yeah.
I just seeing like the number of like think pieces and like I'm a Nintendo fanboy, so I understand, but like guys, let's calm down. It's okay. Nintendo will be fine. The Pokemon company will be fine.
No, there was a thread where they took every single like PAL, and I call them Pokemon when I play the game and like when I'm talking to people about it. But
I mean, that's just transparent at that. Like they're Pokemon,
Yeah.
but it's fine. Like it's fine.
yeah. But they matched them up side by side, and they were like, "Oh, look how much this penguin looks like this penguin Pokemon," and it's like, all right, right, I get that, but like. That's more the penguin elements and less the stylistic choices going on there. It's not like they're all stylized like differently than how Pokemon would be. Outside of like, oh, this is animal. I know animal. Ooh, animal mixed with element. Cool. Like, like I get that that's the Pokemon like formula, right? But
Yeah.
who says no one else can use that, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's like okay, they're very clearly just great value Pokemon, but it's fine. Like,
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not a big deal.
Well,
You know?
one of them was like somebody took like the 3D models and overlaid them, and they're
I
like,
saw
"This
that.
is just ridiculous." And then like later, like a couple of days later, they were like, "All right. Maybe I did some size rescaling in order to get them set up, but," and then it's like, "All right, wait, pause." And then I saw somebody dunking on that, and they were like, "Hey, so like I took their models and like I lined them up just like they had, and it was like a horse Pokemon. It was like a horse Pokemon and a horse pal, and they were like, yeah, so like the 3D models do line up. They're just like a little like to scale, right? So then I lined it up with like a model of an actual horse, and guys, you're never gonna fucking believe it. Like, it was perfectly lined up, and I'm like, wow, yeah, it's like
Damn.
I don't know.
Life
Yeah,
imitates
it's like,
art,
wow.
I guess. Someone better sue that horse.
Facts. Nintendo's gonna be suing God soon.
Yeah, well, honestly, yeah, it wouldn't. I wouldn't put it past them. They're a crazy company. I love, like, again, I'm in the pocket. Like, I'm an admitted fanboy. Of all of the corporations to stand, I guess that's the one. Even though they actively are, hostile to their consumers. Like, but it is
Yeah.
kind of funny how predictable they are in their like litigation and lack of output in certain ways.
It's, I mean, to me personally, like, I mean, we grew up on Pokemon games, right? I
Yeah.
love them, and I love that formula, right? And I love the gameplay loop, but like outside of, so there were a few big jumps. This is like so not movie podcast, but I really
Okay,
want to talk
we
about it.
definitely we got to move on from this after whatever you're about to say.
There
Go
were a
ahead.
few big jumps in like gameplay, right? But nothing crazy, right? Like Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Like I remember
Yeah.
that being like, whoa, like this was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, the jump from the Game Boy to the DS was pretty cool, but then like DS to Switch, like it felt like a downgrade.
Yeah.
What was it? Scarlet and Violet.
sure.
Just not big on
I'm
them.
not a Pokemon
They were just
guy.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just okay. Like they introduced the open world element, but it wasn't great. And Pal Worlds is like pretty much exactly the same, except it's got like more survival elements, and it's just more fun, and it looks a lot better, and it runs a lot better, and it just feels a lot better. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It sucks. It like actually sucks because it's like, man, like I love the Pokemon games. Big Pokemon guy. A lot of stuff that I wish that they would have done anytime before, like,
Yeah.
at all.
It's crazy that they, like, they will not put out a first-party game for their other series that sucks. Like, they will not put it, like, the quality control for the Pokemon Company games are, like, it's so dog shit. It's crazy.
It's so dog shit.
In comparison,
Yeah.
like they're consistently, like, Zelda obviously gets all the acclaim, but also the mainline Mario games, like, those are always like they are improving on top of themselves constantly. So it's so funny that they're like, yeah, Pokemon, which is probably their most lucrative. I mean, it's definitely some of their highest selling games. It's crazy that they're just like, we'll let these developers just kind of fuck around. Like, it's fine.
It's because it's Game Freak, right? Like,
yeah.
Which is like, I don't know if
Nintendo's
that's like
not
a division of Nintendo, or
I think they're just a partnership, if I remember correctly. So, like, right, you have your in-house, because Nintendo's unique in that they have a lot of development in addition to publishing games, and so it's they don't care as much, what the little freaks at Game Freak are doing, I guess.
And, like, that's crazy.
And they know it's going to sell, because it's like...
Right, it's the bottom
yeah.
line. They're like, we're still going to get our money. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like,
they know that
really
you
don't
can't
push yourselves on this one, guys.
You really can't dilute that brand, right? Like, they don't really... it's like, they'll always have Pikachu in, like, the, the Gen 1. Like, they will always have that, like, classic... whatever, like symbols of culture. Like, you can't take that away, no matter how many rip-offs there are. Yeah.
I mean, even the rip-offs, like, they're just called, like everyone called Power World Pokemon with guns, because it's just Pokemon, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you look at any, like, not anthropomorphic, but any, like, animal, which, like, animal with element, like I said earlier. Like, you look at anything of that nature, and you're like, oh, so it's Pokemon, right? Like, that's all it is. And it's like, yeah, sure, I guess. Did you see Nintendo's coming out with a new, like, not game, I guess game console?
The Switch 2? I mean, they've been rumoring that for a while. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
They're always, like, 1 year after people start speculating. Or, like, really, I don't think it's coming this year. I'll eat my hat, though, because I've been hearing rumors of the new, like, the next mainline Mario game, which I'll be there. But we'll see. I mean,
if it's out in 2025, that'd be sick. And, like,
2025,
if it dropped... Yeah, I mean, if it dropped... I just heard that it was supposed to have an 8-inch screen, and I heard nothing else about it. And I was like, all right, I saw
that, too.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
I don't think they'll do that. I don't think... That really hampers your portability. Like, an 8-inch screen is... Yeah. That's intense. I think that... if they upgrade it and they don't go in some kind of crazy direction with the, like, peripherals, then, I think it'll just be, like, hardware improvements.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what they were going for with Switch, honestly. Like...
we really got to move on, but I predicted the Switch 10 years ago when I worked at GameStop. Like, when I was like, I know what's going to happen because I'm a big Wii U
Was that
fan.
with the Wii U thing? Yeah, okay, yeah. Because I was like, didn't sell. Like, I felt like it should have, but...
fucking owns bones. The Wii U's awesome. Like, it's a great console, but people were
but it didn't sell. Like,
it did not sell. No, I tried. I tried to sell so many.
I tried. Late's taking Nintendo, put it on their back. Like, nah. People are walking into the store. Like,
they are.
Poor mothers are walking in. I need the Call of Duty for my son. All right, so here's what you're gonna do. You want the Wii U. All right,
you want to get them
Splatoon. Your little shithead, snot-nosed kid isn't gonna know what fucking hit him. All right, you want the Wii U. Get some Mario games. It's going to knock their fucking socks off. They've never seen gaming like this before.
They hadn't. But no, I was like, they're going to combine this, and so it's just going to be one piece of hardware, and you'll still be able to do, like, the screen, the portable gaming. But anyway, all right. So this is not what we want to play, despite every time we try to fucking talk about something, we end up talking about video games on this podcast.
This is just a little intro.
This is We Want to Watch. Well, I wanted to talk
preamble.
Oscars, but, it's fine. Whatever.
Well, I don't know Oscars,
I know,
I do know one
sucks.
Oscar, but I don't know multiple.
Introduce the podcast.
Oh, not my friend Oscar? Hey, this is We Want to Watch. My name's Ricky.
I'm Lane.
And on this pod, we find movies that we think one or the other might enjoy, or that has a particular staying power or effect upon the general menagerie of society and of movies, and we watch it and comment on them.
I love that we can't get the fucking premise of this podcast down. I think it's great that we just don't know what to say.
It evolves. It evolves over
It has
time.
evolved. It has evolved.
Different every week. It's gonna be We Want a Game soon.
No, it's not. No.
That's good.
Absolutely
That'll be
not.
our gaming Twitch. Once the pod really takes off, We Want to Watch. That everyone's gonna be like, damn, I wish I could consume more content from these people. Boom.
Yeah.
We want a game, and it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. How much promotion are you doing, Mr. Advertiser?
Well.
Yeah.
I'll take out a billboard soon.
Yeah.
That's what gets the point across nowadays.
For podcasts. Can you imagine seeing a podcast advertised on a billboard?
Yeah, I can. I'd be like, what the fuck are these people on,
Yeah.
bro?
These people don't know how to market.
Yeah.
Okay. This week was Elaine's frame, and so I chose Yojimbo, the 1961 film written, directed, everything by Akira Kurosawa. I had not seen this movie, but I've seen some other Kurosawa movies. And Ricky, I think you said you had two. You'd seen Seven Samurai, right?
Yes. Yeah. I've
Yeah.
seen some other Kurosawa movies, but I haven't seen this one either.
This movie fucking rocks. This movie
owns.
I really, really like this. I think I liked this more than any other Kurosawa I've seen yet. Yeah, I was blown away. I was
Damn.
kind of similar to Speed Racer. I wasn't hopping off my seat, but I was getting closer to the TV as I was watching. As the
it's a
movie
hype
progressed.
movie. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So just
go
a
ahead.
general note on Kurosawa movies and their effects upon Japanese media.
Sure.
Just from this is a my take.
Yeah.
So specifically, Samurai Champloo. I knew Samurai Champloo had it's an anime. It's not too long. It's 20 in the realm of 24 episodes.
Okay.
Excellent sound design on there too, by the way. But it has a lot of homages to different samurai movies, and I never really picked up on a ton of them. I had seen some.
Oh, yeah.
I'd been able to be this sort of makes sense. Yojimbo is there's an episode that is not exactly Yojimbo, but it's it hits pretty much every one of the beats, and it's a little bit changed in Champloo because there's more than one samurai, yada yada.
Sure.
But watching this, I was it was such a weird. I was oh my god, and even some of the names were exactly the same, pulled over.
Nice.
Yeah. The name of the kid, crap. Yoshida or something? Let me...
The son of the...
Yoichiro. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that was the name of, the kid
Sure.
in the Samurai Champloo episode, who has a very different role, but, I was oh my god, what the fuck, bro? It was so weird watching this. And,
Yeah.
I found that out of, a lot of movies that I've watched, and specifically things that you've recommended as being, really sort of lasting in culture, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Of
I mean,
all of them, I'll watch and I'll be oh shit, this is where blank joke came from in mass media. And it's really, really, it's such a weird, I don't know. It's odd. It's really odd, is what I'll say.
Yeah, well, it's always so interesting when you watch a movie or read a book or something, and it's full of those types of things where you're oh, that's where this comes from, and that's where I've seen this referenced, and blah blah blah.
Right.
I remember when I was younger reading when I would read Shakespeare, and it would be oh shit, that's where that saying comes from. That feeling of finally unlocking it really the
hemisphere moment.
Yeah, well, we don't need to bring that inside joke on this podcast.
Well,
All of these
okay,
instances
whatever.
of me being a dumbass.
No, I mean, I honestly, I really resonated with the idea of a hemisphere moment. I think that's really cool. Why don't you explain it for the
I was
for
gonna
the
say,
listeners?
okay, yeah, the listener, the Christopher. No, just kidding.
Wow.
So when I was like in geometry class, in whatever 7th or 8th grade, I remember I was sitting there and we were doing a lecture on whatever geometry, and I remember like the feeling of like unlocking something when I realized that it's called a hemisphere because it's half a sphere. Which sounds so stupid to say aloud, but like it's those things that you don't necessarily not know, but you just never thought about it or put it together in that way. I'm trying to think of like some other examples. There've been a few. We have a whole channel in the other Discord about it. Hang on.
Yeah, I can't think of any of mine personally. I've definitely had it happen, and I feel like it's such a relatable feeling, though.
Okay, here's one. Like
Yeah.
delicatessen or deli and delicious. They're the same root word.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like that. That's one. Or remix because you're remixing the track. That one's not mine. Oh, footage, like video footage. It's called that because there's feet of tape. There's like several feet.
Oh.
Okay. Anyway,
That's an interesting one. That's such a weird one because that's something that would be like lost when we lose
Right.
that technology, right?
anyway. So yeah, this movie definitely, like, I'm not a huge Western fan, but like you can tell how influential this was on like all of the Westerns that came after it, all of the like kind
Oh
of
yeah.
revisionist Western or like spaghetti Westerns that were kind of like not in the same like hero, more anti-hero kind of genre. All of the like wide shots of just of our Ronin like hanging out. It's really cool to
action
see some of that.
sequences. It's like
Crazy.
the way that like there's always that like building tension and then it just snaps and like
And it's over.
shit just
like,
goes
instantly.
down. Yeah. And like, oh my god, every action scene is so like decisive, and it's so fucking sick.
Yeah.
I don't know. These were like, this was a really cool movie to watch. I'll say plot wise, I only sort of got like the overarching bits, I guess. Like he's a Ronin. He stumbled upon this town. I didn't really get whether
I don't think
it was
there's,
one
like-
town or two, but
It's one town, yeah, but
Okay.
it's just the two like
because he was like going
rival
back and
businesses,
forth between
basically.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think there's like this movie is not that deep, I think.
Okay,
Like
cool.
it's not Seven Samurai where it's like there's like layers and layers of meaning to it. I think the
Right.
like, and actually I wanted to talk to you about this.
It's the robot
There's-
meme, but like
No.
the part going over the head is like
No,
Ronin are fucking cool and like help save towns, and the part
Well,
that's
I-
like hitting you is like there's a deeper meaning behind this movie.
we should have made that the cover art for our podcast. Is that
that meme. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think this movie is deeply unserious. Like, I do think that this movie's
Mm-hmm.
not, it's goofy at times. It's like, it's fun
Goofy?
and funny and, okay.
Yeah.
But no, like, this movie, I realized as I was watching it, it's like one of my favorite genres of movie, which is one cool, badass guy who gets away with it. And, like,
Yeah.
we don't really have a lot of those anymore. And I don't mean that in like we used to be a real country, they don't make them like they used to. But that's just not in vogue anymore. Like that's not a popular kind of movie, I don't think. The only one I could really come up with was John Wick. I'm not a huge action movie fan, but like, I don't know.
No, I
you
can
know what I
see
mean?
that.
Like that.
Yeah.
They're definitely not like as prevalent or definitely not as acclaimed anymore.
It's a lot harder to find the like principle, like the driving principle behind a man of action, I guess I'll say. Like John Wick is very sort of like
It's a
it's
revenge
almost
movie, so it's like
yeah, it's a
different,
revenge movie, but it's like silly in that regard, right? Like people when they talk about the movie, at least like my friends when we talk about it, it's always like it's always very like, oh yeah, like remember when like they killed John Wick's dog for no reason, so he just goes through and fucking starts slaughtering people? It's like, yeah, like why did they kill his dog? And it's just like, well, you know, they needed to progress the plot somehow.
It's so that actor can go like, "You killed John Wick's dog." Like,
yes, yeah.
Like that movie is goofy, but so is this one. You know, I don't think Goofy
you are
necessarily.
already ghost. You know.
Yeah. He's the man you sent to kill the boogeyman. Like it's crazy. But no, like I think this movie is also goofy. You know, I mean the opening scene of him going to the village is like a dog carrying a hand. Like it's like this dog is just like walking along to this jaunty music. Which
the music is kind of unhinged here.
Yeah, okay, yes, no. Does this this music reminds me of the Grinch. Am I crazy for that?
I think you're a little crazy for that.
It's like jaunty and like kind of like hulking, this like big band, like horns that are all like dissonant and crazy. Like think of the Grinch soundtrack. Like think of You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch. Like when it's opening and it's you know, the Ronin like walking along the road and he's like when he throws the stick down and like just randomly decides to go to this town. Like think of him like it's just this like really tight shot of his like shoulders and hair and like we'll get some how fucking good looking this man is in this movie. It's unbelievable. But it's like just him walking from behind and it's like he is totally like kind of aimless and grouchy. I don't know. And
he's got a swank really to the walk too. He's got a big swank to that walk.
He's fucking caked up. It's crazy.
Not even that. Like he gets his whole shoulders into the walk. Like he's swanking. He's swanking when he walks. Yeah. I'll say that the Grinch does that in like its musical numbers, but whenever we see like the Grinch like moving around, it has a much more like do like I don't.
Yeah. I mean
not
like the
that,
big.
But
yeah.
I get what you're getting at here, though. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm valid.
When you first said it, it's a little questionable.
The music is really fun though. It really makes it.
Yeah.
You know, makes it okay to laugh in a lot of ways. You know, you're like because some of this is bleak. So.
Yeah. But it is unhinged as well. Like it's the stylistic choices made with the music seem just like insane to me, in a good way. Like not in a this ruins the movie type of way, but in a like what the fuck were they on when they were making the soundtrack for this movie? Like
well, I think that's the point, right? Like it's not like it was unintentional to make it so goofy
no
fun
yeah
and
no. Yeah, like there was definitely an intent behind it, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell you what it is.
I think the intent is to show off how silly parts of this is. B, I think it's supposed to like represent how out of time he is, like the Ronin, because he's like, it's like the end of the Edo period, right? Like samurai are kind of going away. He comes like when he's first comes to the town, he like, you know, the parents of this kid who like runs off to join a gang. They're like, oh, kids just want to be in gangs and gamble anymore. They're not like, you know, there's a lot of like that. So I think it's supposed to be a little kind of like jarring to represent that he's, I mean, if I'm putting on my film school nerd, like whatever intent analysis thing, like I think that's it. I think it's just, and like I said, it's fun, it's engaging. They use the same kind of like themes over and over again, which is cool.
And you know what? I was gonna say that fits really well with the time period because there's definitely a few, and it's sort of like a classic Japanese trope in like a few pieces of their media where they'll have a character who is like particularly good with the sword, and like people will say, especially if it's like realistic, and even in some like sort of non-realistic media, right? They'll be like, oh, like if you were born in a different time, you'd be like a general, or like if you were born in a different time, like you'd be a god, essentially.
Sure.
And like especially with the invention of guns and then introduction of guns to Japan, like that changed warfare entirely. And like there's it, like you can tell that there's still that sort of sense of like like the Bushido spirit, like they wanted to preserve, and like they definitely like brought back in force, but like that was a huge cultural impact upon Japan, like the introduction of guns, like the Dutch bringing guns in, and then just how they shaped the landscape of power like across the country.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I mean this movie does not have a favorable view of guns, I would say.
Of course not. Yeah.
No. Yeah. It's you know this guy. I mean, when the guy shows up with the gun, Uno is this guy's name. Mm-hmm. Fucking like you just hate him. You hate him instantly. You're like he's like flashing it.
Oh, he's
like
a scumbag. Yeah.
He's total scumbag. Yeah.
and that's like he is a caricature, right? Like there's
for sure.
And like you see him in like so many other pieces of media, of like Japanese media, like that literal exact character too. It's kind of funny. Mm-hmm. I'll say I did love his death scene when he was like, "Oh, like bring me my gun, like I need it."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Don't worry, I've already like shot it twice."
Yeah.
And then, like,
okay, buddy.
he still gives it to him, and then he like you see him
crouches down. Yeah, he's like, "Go ahead, I dare you."
yeah, and then like he just like can't bring himself to shoot him, and I'm like, "All right, wow."
Yeah.
I can't believe he gave him the gun though. I was like, "All right, what the fuck is going on here, man?"
Well, yeah, because he picks it up and kind of like contemplates it for a second before he hands it, and I think I mean, the Ronin is reckless. Like that's definitely like he's very cocky in the movie, which is hot. But you know, he's like when he hands it to him, I think he knows, or he's pretty confident that like, oh yeah, this guy's gonna die in seconds. Like it's fine. Also,
it took him a while to die there though. Like he was
when he's. It's true because he does live until basically the end. But it's crazy because he's like laying face down in the dirt. And as he's talking about, like, I need my gun, I feel naked without my gun, there's, like, blood starts to spill out of him. If you, like, watch the, like, puddle around him just, like, starts seeping out. And it's, like, it's this huge puddle of blood. It's nasty. You're like, oh, fuck, he fucked him up. So, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Really, really sick movie in terms of gore.
It's
Kurosawa.
Sparing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kurosawa does that a lot, and there's some movie which I've seen the blood splatter for, and I forget which Kurosawa it is, but it was due to like a technical defect that caused the blood to like. Yeah.
I know what clip that gets shared on Twitter or whatever that you're talking about. Although I don't know what movie it is in particular.
It wasn't Seven Samurai.
No. I feel like it's. No. I think it's the sequel to this movie.
I can.
Because it's still a black and white movie. I can picture the scene
in my mind. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Sanjuro. It's the sequel. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
Cool.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. That's why like my favorite piece of like film trivia, because that really sort of like, I mean, it's one of the only pieces of film trivia that I know. A and B, it really sort of like shaped the landscape of what like gore in movies looked like what a like blood, because like blood splatter wasn't really used, and especially to like the effect that it had, right? And this movie they used blood a lot, and like dismemberment in general, I guess.
That's true. Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, and it's sick as fuck to see him like fucking swing the sword around, and then like some guy's arm just fucking like flies off onto the ground. Like that's cool as fuck. But
you're right. There is a lot of dismemberment. There's a lot of dismemberment, or like even there's a lot of like bodies cut in half by the camera or like the frame. Like we're jumping all over the place, but I'm thinking of
we always do.
That's true. The old man, Gonji, is that his name? The one who's helping him throughout the whole movie. When he is kidnapped at the end, and the Ronin comes into town, and it's that beautiful wide shot of him, you know, just standing in the middle of this town, and it's like, oh, okay, so Clint Eastwood's whole career is attributable to this one shot, basically. But he walks in, and then you see just the feet of the old man hanging next to the two like thugs from the gang, and I like my like heart skipped a beat. I was like, oh fuck, they hung him already, like he's dead. And like I feel like that type of like cutting of the kid, like, and then it's revealed he's alive. He's hanging from like a weird bind, they got him in. But yeah, it to pretty, yeah, I think I almost said effective effect, like a goddamn idiot, but to great effect. I feel like they do that kind of thing with bodies where they'll, cut part of a person off to kind of, dismember them without actually having the violence there necessarily. I don't know. It's just something I noticed.
And I mean, it's
cool.
a very clever way to like set up the frame of the shot itself, but also
for sure.
There's some movie that I haven't seen, but
you're referencing all these movies today. It's crazy.
I know, it is kind of crazy. Maybe I am further into film discourse Twitter than I thought. So tell me if you've heard of it. There's Red Shoes. I think it's
The Red Shoes?
based around, I don't know.
You're talking about the movie The Red Shoes about the dancer?
It's maybe not about a dancer. So it's set, I believe, in Nazi Germany. Or
wait. Are you talking about Schindler's List?
No, it's not Schindler's List. No,
Schindler's List has the red coat.
It does have the red coat. I'm pretty sure it was shoes because they you like see them walking like the movie was like in black and white, and then
it's certainly you are absolutely thinking of Schindler's List, and it's a red jacket that the girl's wearing. Or
because I've seen Schindler's List. I haven't seen this movie, but I remember hearing about the red shoes. People were talking all about the red shoes. I don't know enough about it to actually bring it up. I don't know why I did. Let's just cut that.
No,
there.
Go ahead. No. Well, first off, I'm keeping this in because I'm like 110% certain you're thinking of Schindler's List. But what was your point?
Well,
what was your point about this movie?
Oh, there was just an interesting cut where, like you see the shoes and you see you see them like hanging essentially, and then like it like panned away. And I can't recall whether they panned up and showed the rest of the person, or if they just panned like away to the next scene, yada yada. But I remember that being a very pivotal scene, and people were talking about it a lot.
It's Jojo Rabbit, isn't it? I think that's a scene.
Maybe. I haven't seen that. That's the problem.
I think there's a pretty famous, okay. It's not, the scene isn't in black and white, or that movie isn't in black and white to my knowledge, but
okay.
No,
Wow.
it's
Fuck me.
it's definitely Jojo Rabbit, because there's a scene where somebody hangs themselves and they show a little boy coming up, and I think it's a friend or his mom or something. I guess spoilers for this movie. I know what you're talking about, but yeah.
Are they red shoes though? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, cool. As long as my memory hasn't failed me with that, I'll be happy.
They're definitely like bright shoes. Either way.
Yeah. All right. Either way, back to Yojimbo.
Well, one other instance of that I'm thinking of is when he's been beat up, which like tough, man. Like the makeup looks crazy when he gets all beat to shit. And it's when he's returned to the old man's house. There's another scene, like, it's after whatever, like, the gang has, like, gone away. They've, like, investigated and didn't find him. And the old man goes and, like, uncovers him from, like, in this dark corner of his house. And he's he's, like, shrouded in black. And the ronin, he's like, get me a coffin. And the old man's like, you're going to give up already? And he's like, no, I'm not going to die yet. I'm not dying. There's a bunch of dudes I have to kill first.
Yeah.
And as he like leans up, it's just his eye in the light, and it's his fucked up eye. It's the one that got like bruised, like he has a black eye or a cut eye or something. And it's just that part of him looking up at the old man, and it's like chilling, and like you get like this like feeling of like, oh, he's gonna go get him. Like it's good. But it's dismembered in that same way.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he's reduced to like the violence that's been enacted on him or something.
Anyway. Wow. Film connoisseur over here.
Okay.
Fuck, what was I gonna say about that? Oh man.
The black and white.
Whatever.
in the house, he's all
I
beat
had
to
two
shit.
things. I'll say the other thing.
Hey, shout out Two Things. Good podcast.
Shout out
sorry,
Two
go ahead.
Things. Haven't seen that podcast. Big shout out though. We doing
Big shout
This
out.
is the shout out podcast. We want to shout. So
It's a good podcast. You should listen to it.
there was a character that
Better than Blank Check.
wow,
ahead. Sorry.
sheesh. There was a character in the gambling house or gambling hall that he goes to who very vividly reminds me of and you can bleep this part. I don't know if you want to bleep this part, but it reminds me of Chris at your one birthday party. Or
Chris.
maybe
Shout out
not.
Chris.
Shout out Chris. Maybe not your birthday party.
Chris.
Like your Halloween thing. You're Chris.
Oh, Christopher. Oh.
Yes.
Oh.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Christopher. Yes. Yeah.
This is
Chris.
my boyfriend.
Yes.
That's what there's too many Chris's in my life. That's why he's Christopher. I have to fucking distinguish him. I used to have a boss named Chris too. It was tough.
Jesus.
Like that's yeah. But no, because he went as a he's gonna kill me for not remembering the name of the spirit. Not a yokai. Fuck.
So yokai is like the general evil spirit. Was he a particular type of yokai?
Hang on. I'm Googling. An Oni. He was an Oni.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
And, for a Halloween party I had a couple years ago. And yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah, maybe it's just that a kimono makes a man look good. You look good. I mean, makeup aside, fucked up,
I mean,
like
yes,
zombie
that
makeup
for
aside.
sure. But, like, he was doing like an, and
Yeah.
there was some character who, like, spoke really quick, but also did like a for like a little bit, and he his face was kind of fucked up, and I saw it. I was like, did Chris get inspiration from this movie? Like what?
He might have. He's seen this movie. He was
Okay,
excited
all
to
right.
watch it.
Then yeah, maybe, yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
And then the second thing I wanted to say, which is really the first thing that I forgot, was every scene with the coffin maker. Every time he talks to the coffin maker, it's so fucking funny.
It is really funny, yeah.
But yeah, because they'll just be like, "Hey, we need a coffin," and then like a couple of guys will show up, and he'll be like, "Hey, make that 3." Yeah, and it's so fucking like.
Well, but then he delivers maybe the bleakest line of the movie. I mean, this movie is really sad and violent at times. Like it is kind of a fun hang, but when he says, because the guy's like, "Oh, your business must be booming," and he's like, "No, because when the fighting gets this bad, they don't bother with coffins."
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's gross. It's really bleak.
That was.
But it's good.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was. I mean, it's a tough fucking line, right? Like,
Yeah.
that shit's kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
ton of tough fucking lines in this film. Even down to the end. I forget what he says at the end, but like,
He's like, "Bye, see ya."
yeah, it's very sort of like he doesn't say you're welcome or anything. He's just like, yeah,
No,
see you around.
He's like, "The town's gonna be quiet for you now. Here you
Oh
go."
yeah.
He
what?
pulls his, he pulls out his sword and he slices the rope off that's binding him, and it's like a funny jump scare or like a funny, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. And then he kind of like smirks just a little bit and is like, "All right, peace out."
He was like he was like nonchalant about it too. It's just like, yeah, like
Yeah,
it's
good.
quiet down. It's like shit, man. Going back to the beginning of the film, I know I'm jumping everywhere. I'm just anytime
so
I'm
am I.
thinking of
It's
something
fine.
cool, just like off the top.
That's cool.
When he introduces himself, I don't know what your subtitles look like.
Oh, yeah, because they say like 30-year-old mulberry bush or whatever,
Yes.
mulberry field.
Yeah. Because like,
Yeah.
so like his name, because I mean it's pretty
Right.
common that like you would name someone with like a specific
Yeah, like
kanji that could be
Ichiro
like
or what-
written differently.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Or had like a different meaning if written in like hiragana, whatever.
Right.
But
Oh, look at
he
Ricky
literally
dropping his knowledge of Japanese
that's I mean pretty
character
surface level.
systems. I'm kidding.
But it's literally like that the one like meme where it's like I'm getting pulled over by an officer and he's like, "What's your name, son?" It's like and you're like looking at his like little like pocket protector, Penn Badgley, like it's that exact joke. but like for this, because he looks and like he sees like a mulberry field, and he's like, like 30-year mulberry field, and they're like, what? And he goes, well, I'm getting close to 40 soon. Like, it's like, wait a second, what? Like, it's such like a weird, funny thing to say. He's so quirked
it's
up.
good, but it I can't believe you just said that.
What? He's a quirked up ronin.
Love that for him. No, but it adds to his mystique, right? Like, again, this is just such a cool, like, this movie's so fucking cool. It makes me really want to watch all of the
Kurosawa films, right?
Like westerns. Well, Kurosawa, but also westerns. All of, I mean, Mifune too, which we should do a little side corner, something about this actor. But yeah, because he was in a bunch of movies where he played just like a cool hot guy, basically.
Hey, I would cast him if I could, right? Like,
yeah, no, I mean, my God, he's an incredible looking man. Just, unbelievable. Especially when he has recovered from, when he's in the temple, like at the end of the movie, the last 5 or 10 minutes, after he's gotten all fucked up, but so he's still a little rugged and haggard looking, but he's like not, actively bleeding. It's good stuff. I would visit my temple. Something.
He could pay respects at my shrine, right? Like,
listen,
if he wants to shake my bell on New Year's, what's gonna happen happens, right?
What the fuck are you saying?
What? It's like a common thing. They like
you could check out my hidden fortress. I'm trying to think of movies.
No, like they ring. You'll go out and ring a bell at a shrine on New Year's. That's like a classic Japanese thing. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not cultured or worldly, so all I know are movies. That's the extent.
Listen, all I know is Japan, so that's like the extent, right? Like, I'm not worldly either, right? I'm islandly, maybe, right?
Islandly. Okay. Anyway, what brought us to this? Hot man, looking good.
Yeah, we were doing like a movie podcast. We started to watch Yojimbo.
Why are we like this today? Today is a crazy one. Today's an editing extravaganza.
What? Leave it all in. Leave it all in.
Oh, I'm leaving it all in. It's just sometimes we get too close to the mic and we smack the table.
Or we get too close to the
happens.
sun. Yeah. Our wings melt off. I feel you. We want to fly.
Oh, you called him a quirked up ronin for being about his name. Right. Yes. So, but no, it does make him. Oh, it makes him mysterious, and it makes me want to watch all of those one cool badass movies from the 60s and 70s. I feel like you don't see him so much anymore. So I love him. I love a movie where the women don't matter. Hot take. I honestly like.
You hate women. I don't know if you noticed this.
It's true. I'm Orson Welles over here. No,
I'm gonna tell all my friends that you hate women, just so you know.
All your one friend, me. No.
Wow.
Not that this movie doesn't totally disregard women, but I do like a movie where the gender of it all, it's about. I do like a movie about men, and this movie is obviously very obsessed with masculinity and how men do stupid things, but they're dishonorable. The two gangs are full of cowards for the most part, and idiots. And I like that. I just there's something nice and turn your brain off about it. Not reassuring so much, but just okay, this movie's definitely not trying to.
It's just guys being
on,
dudes,
gender politics or something. I don't know. I love The Departed for that reason. Because that movie is about men and how stupid men are and how I would never make the same mistakes that men. It's comforting in that way. Where I'm but not even just that. It's beyond just guys being dudes. Because it's oh, this is about how men, particularly the very particular character flaws that men have, and to watch that and just be man, it sucks. I feel for you guys,
See,
and just not have to think about women's role in all of that as much as. I mean, obviously, women are treated horribly in both this movie and The Departed, but
and Orson Welles' filmography, but anyway.
Yeah, well, we don't need to talk about it.
I watch it and I go, like, I see the tragedies they're enacting upon each other, and I go, shit, hell yeah, bro. Like, it's not a, oh, that sucks for them. It's a, fuck yeah, man, that fucking rocks, bro.
Yeah, that's fair. I get it.
Oh yeah. To add to the sort of ridiculousness of it, every time they're sort of like bidding for his attention, and like the sums that they're offering him are fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
So like I don't know how familiar you are with. Okay.
Mansplain away.
Oh, thank God. A euro is like, it's like this like golden coin, right?
Right. I gathered that much.
Yeah, 10 of them is like a lot. That's like a, I mean, you'd be able to live pretty comfortably off of that, right? It's not like, like a lord's salary or anything, right? But when they first like offer him, they say like 4 euro or something, or like 2, and like 2 euro would be like a very well esteemed samurai's like salary, right? They'd be like, oh, like that's you're doing like very well for yourself, right? So by the end of it, when he's like 50, I'll give you 50 euro.
30.
It's like, wait a second, bro. Like, what the fuck, man? Because that's like landowner levels of like money, right?
Right.
But that shit's crazy. I mean, I'll try to look up exactly how much a euro is.
I'm Googling it now. It was a lot, basically, is what back then at least.
Yeah. So it's worth 3 kan, or 3,000 copper pieces, and the one guy was like, "I'm only getting 2 silver over here."
Yeah.
It's like shit. Yeah. All right.
Good. Obviously, he's worth it.
Yeah. So like one euro was 50 monne, which is 50 silver pieces, which is like kind of crazy, man.
And at the end, he doesn't have any money. He doesn't.
He leaves
gives
with
away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't need it,
which is cool. No.
Holy shit. Okay, so they're saying that it was about like $3,000 to $4,000 per reel.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like at the end,
Let's
it's like
go.
what, like 2 million or something? Like what the fuck?
Yeah. Cool.
That's crazy. Maybe I'm off. Wait. Maybe I'm off with it. Maybe it's like 200,000. It's like 200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
200K.
lot of money still.
Either way, 200K. Yeah. Like
This ain't a math
landowner.
podcast.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
fun.
We
He
want
was
a math.
a rich, quirked up Ronin by the end of it.
Well, he would have been, yeah, if he had decided to be. But yeah, fucking crazy, honestly. I don't know. And it paints the other guys all like really firmly as cowards too, because they're like some of them are like, oh, like whatever, you know, he's not that cool.
Yeah.
But like the bosses are like, yeah, I mean, he's worth it though. Have you seen him? Like, he's tough. We need this guy. He's fucking tough, man.
Yeah, well, because especially when he first hears the wife of the one crime boss being like, "We'll kill him afterward and get back our money," and he's like, "I'm relinquishing this," and he like dispatches 3 dudes suddenly, and then he runs up into the tower, or like walks up into the tower and lets the 2 gangs like advance on each other from up above. It's pretty early on. Like that shot of him kind of standing and laughing above the 2 gangs as they like approach, but they're all scared, and it's just this kind of really low wide shot looking up at him in the like on the tower or whatever, and their swords are like really slowly from each gang kind of creeping into the frame, and they're like yelling, but they're all talk. It's so funny, and yeah, really sets the mood of like, oh, these guys ain't shit.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you have to
awesome.
imagine that like a lot of the battlefields, like,
We're like that, yeah, totally.
Yeah. Like, I mean, people like, I like to imagine people don't like inherently want to go out and kill other people, right?
Yeah, or die, or
right,
know that
or
they are
die.
gonna die. Yeah.
Right. And there's a couple of psychopaths that like do. And, like, those are the guys that, like, names get written down in history, because they're like, yeah, phew, he went out there and killed 100 people. And, like it was on a battlefield, though. And everyone's like, yeah, damn, good on him, man. Like, whew, that guy fucking rocked. Fucking cool. This movie does have a lot of really interesting framing. There was one scene where I think like one of the gangs was like walking into town, and it was just on their backs. It was like 7 or 8 of them, and it reminded me a lot of like a very similar frame in Seven Samurai, but like such a different vibe, because like Seven Samurai, like they look like very refined, or like dignified, I should say. Maybe not refined, but dignified.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. And like when they're walking in, it's like oh shit, like these guys mean business. This one, like they're walking in and it's like, oh shit, these guys are gonna die. Like,
yeah. This is the definition of ragtag.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Just in
ahead.
case it needs to be said, I'll say I really enjoyed this movie overall. Like,
no shit, sure. Yeah, of course it. You did. Are you kidding me?
I just like to make things explicit, right?
Does anyone
like
again? The default state for you is I like this movie. This movie was
true.
good. I liked it.
This was a really good one, though. It's like
yeah. No, I get you. It's really good.
Like it doesn't it aged really well. It doesn't seem like an old movie. It doesn't seem like it's really well paced.
See,
I don't think
this
it
movie
feels like an
pretty
old movie.
Well, I don't think of an old movie as bad. So it feels
Right.
old to me. It doesn't feel modern, I guess. But like some of the cinematography is quite old. Like
Maybe-
the wipes,
Yeah,
like all of the
wow.
the scene.
They're
It's very,
endearing.
it is endearing. I'm just saying it's like, oh yeah, this is a movie from the 60s. Like
Maybe I'll say like old but not aged, I guess.
I guess. I mean, sure. I think it's a meaningless distinction. I don't know. You have your feelings. I know
do.
what you mean. If it's still good. I feel like
Yeah.
when people say that, right, they mean like, I enjoyed this movie even though it's old, and it's like, yeah, no shit, it's a good movie. I don't know.
It is a really good movie. Yeah.
The wipes though are they're funny. They're like they are often like, they're used at the right after a comedic part of a scene. The climactic like funny joke of a scene oftentimes and then we'll wipe over to the next thing. It's a comedic like transition.
It
which is good.
It reminds me of like the Star Wars fucking wipes,
Oh,
'Cause there are some
George Lucas fucking yeah. I mean yeah. If there's ever a movie that or a director that Lucas ripped off, it's Kurosawa for sure. But not to say that those aren't good movies, but
that'd be a very interesting. You know what? I guess because it is also like sword fights in the Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
I've not really thought that much about it.
I'm not the originator. I am not the originator of that thought. That is a very
Yeah.
well-known thing. Is that he ripped off this like samurai movies in general for Star Wars. So
Anyway,
there's a lot of wide shots too in that one of like Luke and Obi-Wan, especially like in the desert in the beginning. Similar to this. Yeah. Let's see what else. One thing does age this movie, and it's the terrible, terrible bald cap makeup. I don't know, like, I guess when you got to put bald caps on like 80 guys, like it can get
you're
tough,
such a
right?
stickler for like makeup.
I notice it. I don't know. What do you want from me? Like, it's something I notice. And like, when you can see that like where the guy's forehead ends and his forehead wrinkles like immediately stop and it just become like a smooth like plastic or whatever silicone like it's noticeable. But I mean it's fine. They're not distracting. But it is just especially in the beginning. I feel like when you're first being introduced to a lot of the old guys or older
it
dudes,
can be kind of jarring, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it at all, honestly. Like I glazed over that entirely. I was just like, oh, all right, like this is what they're working with.
Well, because I've seen other samurai movies where that's the hairstyle, and like I haven't noticed it as much. Including, I think Seven Samurai has it. I've seen a couple other like Edo period samurai or ronin movies from this time period, and like I don't remember the makeup being so bad, but this one like definitely it's like it like jumped out at me.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm a stickler for it. Am I?
Nothing wrong with it. I don't know. It's just you mentioned the Cloud Atlas thing, which I hadn't noticed before. So like I don't know. I'm just making fun of you for it. I don't think you're particularly a stickler, but
that's fine. You don't have a lot of
between these two.
You don't have a lot of ammo to make fun of me for, so
that's true. I mean, I don't stickle very often either, so it's stickle me Elmo.
Boo. I do think the characters, like the design, like it looks great. Like everybody is so gnarly or like distinct looking. It's really good. You know, when you have a cast of like 80 gang members or whatever, like and they're all old dudes. You know, or a lot of them were like old guys. Having distinct character design is important, and I think, you know, some of the like really really raggedy gnarly looking gang members, like the brother, the obviously like the big guy with like gigantism, like he looks crazy. Yeah, he's well deployed.
I'll say a lot of those guys, or I'll say that, like, in Going on Spray of Blood, a lot of the like gangster stereotypes and Yakuza stereotypes come directly from like Kurosawa. Like it's like totally. 1-to-1 lifted. Yeah. So like
absolutely.
Like those stereotypes which are being established now like became characterizations which like later we see.
Yeah.
So I did kind of want to mention that like Going on Spray of Blood, like definitely, and it also has like a very sort of similar vibe overall in terms of like, oh, like he's a samurai. I mean, they have different goals and whatnot, but like he's a man of action, like yada yada. I don't know.
Yeah.
And like even the mob, even like the caricature of like the Yakuza, like the mob boss, like very sort of similar. Maybe not in appearance, but like it, like even the way they talk. I don't know. They have like I don't know if it's an accent, if it's a dialect, but I feel like a lot of Yakuza have a very particular way of speaking in Japanese media. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
One other. Have you seen Kill Bill?
No.
Fuck, man. Okay. There's definitely a very explicit thing that Kill Bill rips from in this movie, when he says like children shouldn't play with swords, like go back to your mother. When it's like the guy from the beginning who like leaves his family, and he's like, I don't want to eat gruel the rest of my life, and then at the end he's like, mommy, and then the ronin is like, go home and have gruel, like go to your mom. Kill Bill pretty directly like spoofs or like, you know, expands on that or whatever, that part, because Kill Bill is like, I don't know. We could talk about Tarantino some other time, but like Kill Bill is definitely, you know, that's Tarantino's whole thing, is like remixing or whatever, you know, samurai movies and martial arts movies and things like that. So seeing where that joke, this very like famous, I think, part of Kill Bill comes from is funny. Kind of same as the beginning when we talked about all these different shots and things that references that other movies make.
Yeah, it feels like, now that I'm seeing a lot more like older films, it feels like there's so many homages nowadays, and like if not an homage, like if not a direct homage, it's a like culturally embedded, like, oh, this is what a proper shot of blank should look like. And so it's really cool to see where these were established.
Sure. But I mean, even then, I'm sure that there are things, you know, that somebody who watches like even older films from the, you know, 30s, 40s, 20s would recognize from this movie as like, you know, being influenced. So that's cool. Yeah, it's really cool, especially newer films too.
I mean, it's nice to see how they've adapted over time, and how it's still like there's certain things that people are just like, oh, like this was a great way to do that, and it was groundbreaking at the time, and it became sort of like common practice almost. And that's really cool.
Yeah, well, not even that too. I think a lot of the time it's like, you know, a director being like, man, I fucking love that guy. Isn't Kurosawa cool? Like, you know, I want to do that.
The robot beam, isn't Kurosawa cool? And then like, I don't know what the other one would be, but
the March of Time is you know, sad and leaves people feeling homeless and timeless. I don't know. Let's see what else. Going back to the music for a moment, and actually, speaking of the like dismembered, another like bit of kind of humor or like intensity that comes from showing only body parts in a frame. When our Ronin goes to the crime boss, or like the gang house, and it's after he's overheard the gossip about the two assassins. killing the like neighboring politician or whatever. And he goes and he like shouts up for the crime boss, and then he like comes down the stairs all jaunty, and you just see his feet. Do you know what I'm talking about? And like, and he's like, yeah, I just heard apparently those assassins that you like that you hired, like I heard that they're over, they have loose lips, or he says something to that effect.
Yes. Yeah. Because he says you're not paying them enough. He's like, hey, like, like you're buying bottom of the barrel here.
Yeah. And as he comes down the stairs, I think it's Ushitora is this one, because they get kidnapped, and he's coming down the stairs, but like one stair at a time as Sanjuro is talking, and the music is like it's like doom, 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 as he like takes a step, and then it'll stop, and then he'll take another step, and it'll do it. It's really funny and silly, and like only seeing his feet kind of adds like to the drama of how is he going to react, and like it kind of makes it the hijinks of him playing these two crime bosses off each other. Makes it even funnier to just see his feet and the reaction of him. It's funny, it's cool.
Yeah,
good stuff.
A lot of really great stuff in this movie. I feel like I've seen that scene elsewhere. I feel like I've seen that scene like in anime as well. Yeah. A couple other things I wanted to mention. When he destroys the house, or like the holding house that the kidnapped wife was in, like after he's killed all the guys and he's just in there like hacking shit up, that was really cool, because that I feel like is the most extended scene of like violence, or of him kind of like going unleashed, because right when he dispatches of different sets of guys in this movie, like it's over so fast. It's so
whereas
quick.
This, it's like this, he's like hacking at the ceiling and like kicking shit over. I'm like,
When he cut up like all the food bags, and then he goes and he starts puncturing the fucking sake barrels, and then they're like trying to stop it, and it's just the scene of like all these guys like rushing between these barrels, and they're just being fucking pelted by water. Like it's it looks like a fucking what is it? Remember Wipeout?
Looks like that Titanic.
It was like
Wipeout.
the Titanic. Yeah.
It's scary. Yeah, it's intense. Same with the scene of the silk like repository being on fire too. That was pretty intense. And then the fucking asshole with the gun is just standing there like smirking like a maniac. Fuck that guy. Did I lose you, Ricky?
Sorry, I had to let Archie in. Hey. What? I can't let my cat in?
On camera? No.
He loves it. Did you hear him? He said hi.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be on the fucking mic when I
All right, cool.
edit this.
Just a little bit more for you to edit.
Thanks.
Yeah, no. But that's. I'm sorry. You can cut out that whole bit if you want to.
It's
just 20
fine.
seconds.
It's
Flop
fine.
it right off. That scene in particular, where the fire's going up and he's like sort of menacing in front of it, fucking crazy. That shit's cool as fuck. Like that. He's a G. I mean, I know he's a scumbag. We hate him. But in that scene, he looks like a fucking G, bro. Like, that shit's sick, man.
No, he gives... You know what? There was a particular guy or, like, dude in, actually, Goemon's Blood Spray that had the same, like, punchable face issue. Where I was like, I fucking hate that guy. I can't enjoy him looking cool. I hate him. Like, his, like, character design is so, like,
was it,
nasty.
like, the right-hand man?
Yeah.
With the, like,
I think so.
I think I know who you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, but...
I love that.
I don't want to look at this guy.
Yeah.
Fune.
Yeah, because I remember with Goemon's Spray of Blood, you were like, yeah, like it just looks bad, and like I just don't want to look at it at all. like and I was like, yeah, but it's like supposed to look bad. And you're like, yeah. I hate that.
Yeah, but I still hate it. Yeah.
yeah. But they do that. I feel like they do that a lot in this film. Like, there's guys that are it's just like, man, these people look fucking horrible. Like, I don't want this. I don't want this guy on my fucking screen.
Yeah.
And then our main character comes in to fucking cut him off of it. It's like, all right, let's go.
Yeah. I feel like that's that's also actually kind of a classic. Older movie thing, actually, now that you point that out, is having your cast of villains be like really just like nasty looking.
Oh yeah, hugely gnarly. Because I think it's very easy for people to be like, oh, like the good guy is the guy that like looks very clean and like well put together, and the bad guy is
well,
like,
let's be clear. The ronin in this movie, like,
right, okay, maybe not in this movie in particular. Yeah,
it's still sexy,
right.
but you know, he's still very handsome in comparison.
But also, like, he doesn't
there's some yeah.
He's not playing the hero, right? Like you mentioned earlier, he's an anti-hero.
He's playing
right?
the anti-hero, yeah, for sure. But
yeah.
he's still like the best looking of them all. Whereas like,
that's
like
true, yeah.
some of these guys have like patches of hair missing.
Yeah,
like they look like they like a 2-year-old cut their hair, or like.
And it'd be like hard to root for that guy, right? Like it'd be hard to root for like a really patchy haired guy on screen and be like, yeah like it's just so cool how like his remaining hairs, you know, rustle about in the wind. Like, that's sick. It's like, well, is it? Like, is that cool?
But now, but nowadays, and this is me getting on my, we used to be a real country soapbox. This is actually that rant. You don't see like normal looking dudes in movies.
Ever.
Or women, of course.
Yeah.
But like
there's no normal looking people at all.
Yeah.
They're all freaks. No. Sorry.
No, just like the everybody's Hollywood beautiful, at least in like big movies anymore. You know, there's not a lot of like average looking folk.
I think originally that was sort of like it was like the subversion of this sort of like trope, right? Where it's like, oh sure, like the villain can be beautiful too. Right.
For sure.
And like the sort of Narnia-esque thing where it's like, oh, like the villain can come bearing gifts, yada yada. But then it just got to the point where that became like the standard, and it's like, oh well, like everyone is just the most beautiful person you've ever seen ever. It's like, okay, cool.
Listen,
I guess
I could get on my plastic surgery soapbox right now. You want to talk about my attention to detail? Oh my goodness, or my attention to makeup.
what's the one plastic?
Buccal fat removal.
I hate it. It's the worst. Hate it. Hate it.
Hey, so Ricky and I spent like 30 minutes here talking about plastic surgery, and nobody wants to hear that. I don't know. If you do want to hear that, I guess text me. But here's a clip of us talking about the Oscars instead.
All right. Some real quick thoughts about Oscar noms, and specifically Margot Robbie getting snubbed.
Okay. Thank you for indulging me.
I'll let the raging bull go. Yeah.
No, okay. Everybody's like, oh, it's so indicative of, you know, the themes of the movie that she got nominated and he didn't, or she didn't get nominated and he did. Okay, first of all, they competed in completely different categories, so like it's not like he took her place. Like let's let that go. Second, the fact that like his role is more memorable and funnier and like more attention grabbing than hers is not the fault of the Academy. Like, you know, it's like, blame fucking Greta Gerwig for writing a movie where the you know, male character is more interesting, you know. And that's not to say that I think Barbie, like, or her performance as Barbie is bad or like whatever. I think she does a great job, but it's just not a flashy role, and so like she doesn't do a ton. I mean, she's like self-actualizes in the movie, but the movie isn't really, she's not like the character with like the most to do, and so, you know, and that's the point. But third, and this is the craziest thing that nobody is acknowledging right now, is that the actress race, the best actress race, is fucking stacked this year. Like, it's a very competitive category. Yeah. The supporting actor race is not. Like, it is not a competitive category right now. They have some really crazy nominations in there that are just, you know, it's like, okay, sure. It's a weaker race. And so, of course, there's more of a chance that a performance in that category versus best actress is going to get nominated, even if it's whatever, not as good. And so all of the like, oh, it's feminism, like that shit is so fucking infuriating. The movie made $1 bajillion. Like the movie's one of the most popular movies of the year. People trying to make it like their fucking feminist, whatever, like stake in the ground altar. Or whatever. Yeah. There's so much more important shit you could be mad about. Like, like the Greta Gerwig not getting nominated for director thing is that's more egregious because that movie, that movie is, you know, the direction in that movie is, I think, more important or more memorable or more whatever, like well acclaimed or like worth acclaim than the best actress thing. But like, yeah, that's just a totally different take, you know. And they both still got nominated. They're both, you know, Greta Gerwig wrote the movie, and the movie got a fucking screenplay nomination over Killers of the Flower Moon, which is fucking insane. But then you know, so she still got nominated, and then Margot Robbie's a fucking producer for the movie, so she's nominated in Best Picture. She's still got, like, if they win those awards, they will go home with Oscars with, you know, their names on them. It's fine. Anyway,
Right.
that was my rant.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me get that out.
Yeah, no worries. One of the biggest, like, I saw a lot of discourse about that, but one of the biggest, like, one of the ones I disagreed with most was someone was like, hey, like, if I saw Ryan Gosling getting his own song in I'm Just Ken, I would have fucking, like, I would have torn that shit down. I would have made that a duet. Like, it would have been me and him up there, or I would have had my own song, in regards to, like, what Robbie should have done. And I'm like,
okay, sure. First off, sure,
that's not how it fucking works.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Like, if you did that, you would not be an actor in that position, right? Like, Margot Robbie is an actor, is like a very prestigious actor for a reason, right? And like, she's not going to act like that. A, and B, like, Greta Gerwig was the one who pushed for that song to be in the movie, right? Like, she wanted there to be a big musical number, and she wanted it to be I'm Just Ken, and like, I don't even remember if there was. There was like music in the movie, but there weren't other like musical numbers, right? Like sang by the cast. Was there?
No.
Apart from I'm Just Ken?
No, there's a bunch of other music in the movie, but yeah, I mean, there's like musical set pieces,
but, like,
right?
no musicals.
But yeah, it's not like the cast is breaking out in song, and it, you know, it would be weird, and like it wouldn't be to the character of Barbie, you know, the stereotypical Barbie to do that. It wouldn't make sense. Whereas the Kens, like, they have, you know, the theatricality of them is part of their whole thing, and so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But also, if you're thinking like, okay, my feminist movie has to only be about girls, like, you've lost. Hang it up. You're an idiot.
Right.
There's if you think that the themes of that song are not feminist or don't fit in your fucking feminist framework for this billion-dollar movie, then, you know, just go back to 2010. Like, it's fine. Like, you can just live on Jezebel.com or Everyday Feminism, and like, you know, it's reductive. It's stupid. Like, the whole point of that song is like, maybe I should just be fine with being a guy, and I don't need a woman, and like, it's okay, like, for me to just be, you know, a dude in my own right. Anyway.
Right. I think the Bechdel test, which was just a comic, right? Like, it's just a comic.
Listen,
like, the Bechdel test comes from a comic.
I know. Yes.
It has ruined discourse. It has ruined discourse.
I literally made
like,
this
about
exact.
movies in general.
I have made this exact rant, probably over drinks probably to you before, but like, yes,
probably, I probably heard it.
The fucking Alison Bechdel, who's actually from Penn State or like the Altoona area. Shout out, Alison Bechdel. She
shout out Alison Bechdel.
The whole
we
point.
Want to shout out.
The whole point of that, like, test, quote unquote, isn't to show like, wow, doesn't it suck how women.
This movie's so feminist.
Yeah. It's supposed to be about how women are alienated from talking to each other and having deep relationships with each other. She's a lesbian. The whole thing's about lesbianism, and so the fact that it's become this like, whatever shitty yardstick of like, how feminist is my movie, girl power, like, it's not about that. Like, fuck you. Like, like, get over it. It's fine. Anyway. Yeah. And so like the metric
it's
of
also
like,
it's like such an obvious joke metric, right? Because it's like it's two women having a conversation about anything that's not a man.
It's the
just
bars
to
in hell.
establish that.
Yeah. Like that's not what the
hell.
point is. Yeah.
And it's like there's definitely movies which are not feminist, which are like misogynistic even, where women would be able, like, you could have a movie in which the women only discuss like affairs of the house, right? Like ironing and cleaning or something like that.
Hey, we should watch. I have a movie in mind. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
But it would still pass the Bechdel test because it's more than one woman discussing something that isn't a man. And it's like, well, great. Yeah. That doesn't make it feminist. That doesn't make it any like less disgusting. Like, and it doesn't make them like any more characterized as people, right? Like, like you're failing across all metrics,
right? Because it's not a good metric for.
But you have the one.
Yeah, it's not a good metric for how feminist is my movie. It's a good metric for how much is compulsory heterosexuality like influencing this movie. That's a better way of viewing it.
Yes.
And so, or domesticity or whatever, you know, take your pick. And so, yeah, it's a terrible fucking metric. And honestly, does the Barbie movie really pass that? I don't know. I mean...
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
I mean, it does, but at the same time, like, it's just meaningless. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not something that you'd be able to tell, like, from watching a movie. Like, oh, yes, this passes. No, it doesn't. Like,
Yeah.
you'd have to, like cognitively think of it, right?
Yeah, God forbid anybody fucking do that. Or think... And again, like, anytime I hear people talk about the Oscars, I want to be like, I have a spreadsheet. Get away. Like, this is mine.
Get out of here.
You don't know what you're talking about. Like, whenever I hear that,
And this was not even the most feminist movie released this year.
No, God, no.
The Barbie movie was not.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, like...
Like, not close.
I love that movie, to be clear. Like, I do think it's a good...
No, I thought it was a good movie. Yeah, I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah, and I think it is feminist.
Did I think it was, like, a big feminist piece of media?
No, like, it's...
Not really.
I think it's great at, kind of selling a, whatever, girl power thing to girls. To like, yes.
Right.
If you're coming into this movie and you're like, I want to read, Catherine McKinnon and Andrea Dworkin come out of the mouths of Barbie, like, go home. But, of course this movie's not going to have crazy, advanced, feminist fucking thought. Like, that's not what this movie set out to do. And also, why would you go to that movie thinking that? And so the fact that it's giving this very generic and, like, not terminally online feminist message is good. It's a good thing for that $1 billion worth of people or whatever went to see a movie where they said, like, hey, actually you can self-actualize as a woman and it's okay to do that, and it's, scary and good, and patriarchy is bad. Like, that's a fucking great message for a movie this big to have, even though it's corporate IP and it's whatever, like, fine,
And they should have cut Will Ferrell out of it.
Okay, yeah, that's true. That's the worst part of the movie. But yeah, so it just, it doesn't need to be like the most feminist whatever movie of the year in that way, which you're right. There are many movies that are more interesting from a feminism lens.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Shout out May December, snubbed, best movie of 2023, snubbed for many Oscars. Woo. You want to talk about a supporting actor that should have got in instead of fucking Ryan Gosling, who I like, but anyway, or actress. Okay. All right. I think I got my hot takes out.
This is take 10. 10-11.
Oh, yeah, it is like almost exactly. Cool, okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yojimbo. Let's go back to Yojimbo.
Yojimbo.
That sounds like Jimmy Neutron's dad, like saying hey to him. Yojimbo!
Oh my god, we have really fucking lost it. The editing is about to be nuts. It's gonna take me 2 hours to edit half of this. Do you have anything else about this movie that you want to mention?
I thought it was great. Recommend. I do. This is one that I can recommend the watch for.
Okay. The only thing I want to point out is the guy who acts as the town alarm clock. He'll just go out and he'll be like, "Hey, it's 2 p.m."
Yeah.
And he'll start banging some bricks together. Liked that guy. We should bring that back as an occupation.
How did they know? At night, it's 2 a.m. It's like, how do you know this?
Christopher made the same joke.
Well, no, but honestly, how do you know? What,
I guess you have to have a fucking, I don't know, hourglass.
A moon dial?
Probably?
An hourglass makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could have a candle that
smart.
melts at a certain time.
I imagine candles was probably one of the other ways. Yeah. So.
But yeah, when I was watching it, every time I saw that, it was just. I mean, I laughed at it every time, but the 2 a.m. one was what really got me. I was like, "What the fuck, man? Dude, it's go to sleep. Get a life, bro."
This is a great movie. Yeah,
it was a good one.
Highly enjoyed it. Glad we watched.
So
well,
next week is a Rick's pick.
It is, and it's your celebratory birthday Rick's pick.
It is my celebratory
what are we watching for your birthday?
Rick's pick. I had a movie in mind, which I can't remember the name of, and I'm looking up right now.
I forgot. I know you told me previously, but I've already forgotten it too. So. And you were like, "Oh, I wish I hadn't told you." So
I have remembered it.
Movie.
So have you heard of a little movie called Playtime?
Oh, right, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you just saw this one
listeners.
recently. So Playtime
Yeah,
is
not too long ago. Yeah.
yeah. So Playtime is, I don't really know too much about it. What I do know about it is it was recommended to me as a sort of like intricate film. Like there's a lot going on in every scene, and it's very like meticulously crafted in the way that each scene is put together, and it's like almost sort of like bureaucratic. I don't know anything about the plot of the film. I have been teased with a small scene from it, and it looks like bonkers, batshit insane, in a good way.
Bug nuts.
Bug nuts.
Bananas.
Bug nuts, bananas.
Oh, there's 4.
What was the other one?
Bonkers and batshit.
Bonkers,
Oh, no.
batshit. No.
There can only be 3.
Bonkers.
I think it was.
No. Bonkers.
I don't think it was
banana.
batshit. I think it was bonkers, bug nuts, bananas. Was
Bonkers,
what I said.
bug nuts, bananas. Okay.
When I embroider it, I'll send it to you.
All right. Great. Thanks. That way we can have a
yes,
definitive.
it's
Yeah. 3Ds.
yes,
Yeah.
coinage.
Yeah. Better Business Bureau. But yeah, it looks really cool. I'm excited to watch it. It'll be my first time watching it. Lane has seen it recently, but it'll be a good refresher for them, and I think it'll be a really cool movie
wasn't that
to
recent.
talk about. Okay,
It was like 6 months ago that I watched it. Like, but
I'm time blind, so that's
Maybe.
like that might as well be yesterday, bro.
but no, I'm excited to watch it with you. It was it's definitely one that I think I would benefit from a rewatch of too, because there's so much going on in the background of this movie that like I definitely feel like I missed the first time. So
For sure.
and I had good but kind of mixed feelings. Like not it's a great movie, but I remember feeling I had complicated feelings about it. So
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean that'll give us
so fun.
something to discuss because I mean I've heard only good things about it, but it also it looks like a ton of fun just as like to watch, right? So much happening on screen, and definitely like high replayability just based off of that for like noticing stuff in the background, which isn't something that I usually don't get like a ton of rewatches out of movies. Like even ones that I really really enjoy. Like I don't think I've seen any movie into the double digits, except for like maybe a movie that I've seen as a
like
kid.
Cloud Atlas.
Well, Cloud Atlas I've seen like 5 or 6 times now.
Okay.
Because like I watch it once every couple of years. But like I don't think I've pushed a movie into the double digits yet. I've
Interesting.
seen a bunch of the Transformers movies a couple of times, but like yeah, nothing comes to mind as like a oh yeah, like I've seen this a million times now. So
Really? Wow. There are some movies that I watched on cable, like as a kid and like an adolescent, easily a dozen times. So
I feel like there are ones as a kid for sure, like Atlas or Atlantis, the Lost City of Atlantis for sure. I've seen that easily a dozen times. But also like I've forgotten a lot of like my childhood and adolescent period. So
That's fair.
yeah, most of that's been wiped from the memory banks, except for a few. There are a few that are still rattling around up there. Road to El Dorado, that's another one I've seen a bunch of times.
See, I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about like your classic cable movies. Like, again, I'm thinking of like The Departed. I watched that shit on TBS or not TBS, TNT.
See,
like,
I grew up without cable though.
100 times. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
That's fair.
yeah,
Yeah.
happens.
I didn't watch like a lot of kids like Disney movies. Like I didn't have like a Disney movie that like everybody talks about. Like I had one VHS that I ran into the ground. I really didn't have that. I feel like I didn't latch on to any one movie as a kid. Maybe The Grinch, honestly, actually.
I loved The Grinch as a kid. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even the
Grinch was a huge one. I've seen that
cartoon
one. I've seen that one over a dozen times easily. Both of them. Not the latest two, although I've seen those ad nauseum.
Yeah.
I mean, also like working as a camp counselor, I've seen a lot of kids movies like ad nauseum, but like I don't really remember them.
Sure.
Monsters vs. Aliens, that was one.
That is a movie that no one has seen but you. Like you are the only person who remembers that movie at all.
I don't remember it. I know I've seen it quite a few times.
I think you're the only person who remembers that movie's around.
Really? That's
that
crazy.
Happened. But cool. So next week we want to watch Playtime. Jacques Tati, 1967.
Yep. Next week, we want to play Watch Time.
Should I end this with the Pokemon music this time? Getting in, yeah, if there was ever a company I wanted to
Power
make,
World! Gotta catch up, your heart so true. A courage will follow through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Power World! Yeah.
that was so the drop off of the singing to the yeah.
Yeah.